Marvel finally listening to the fans? A turning point for the studio? Let's talk about these rumors with regards to Daredevil Born Again. And man, I'm excited to get into this one. This is what it's about for me today. And man, I'm really excited to bring this story to you guys and explain what's going on for multiple reasons. It's got all my favorite fixtures actually doing what the fans want. The scoopers being wrong. Positivity being warranted. I love it so much. Okay, so Jeff Snyder gets the credit on this one. He broke it on Friday that Marvel Studios has decided to bring back the actor and actress that respectively played Foggy Nelson and Karren Page. You love to see it. You love to see it. Okay, so why is this such a big deal? Well, in order to explain that, I kind of got to explain the old rumors for the Daredevil show. Born Again was basically going to be very different than the Netflix show, okay? There's interviews with Vincent D'Onofrio talking about this. This was before they fired everybody and remade it. The original vision of the show was that it was going to be very different than the Daredevil show that came before, okay? On top of that, one of the biggest changes that was going to happen in the show was that Foggy was not only not going to be in the show, but he was going to be killed off screen, off camera. Couldn't believe it the first time that I heard this. Wow, what a terrible idea, right? But the way this was going to motivate the character was going to have, basically, you were going to have Daredevil retire, okay? So Matt was no longer going to be a superhero because Foggy got killed because somebody found out that he was Daredevil and killed people close to him, okay? So Foggy was going to be dead. Karren was also going to be dead. And you were going to have Daredevil retired with a new legal partner. And he wasn't even going to put the suit on for like 4 episodes, okay? And that sounded horrible, okay? Many fans, when they heard about this, were like, bro, what are you doing? That is goddamn ridiculous, okay? Now, I think it was late last year, we get the big article talking about how the Daredevil Born Again show is being remade. They fired all the writers, they fired all the directors, they sent everybody from the cast and crew home, and they decided they were going to rework the show, and they're going to shoot it again this year. You know, Feige was looking over the show and basically was like, this is horrible, we can't release this, and so they make all of these different changes. Now, initially, you get people like Daniel RPK and some of these other scoopers saying it's still not going to have Foggy and Karren, okay? And I remember Daniel did this report where he was talking about that, he was talking about this other thing, and he was talking about Muse as the villain, and ultimately Daniel was wrong, and Marvel decided to change it. Now, some people are saying they changed it very recently, like within the past couple of weeks. I don't believe that. I think this was something that they immediately wanted to change, and I think it has to do with this whole fixing Echo, tying Echo to the Netflix shows, making the Netflix shows officially canon, and just saying, you know, instead of trying to reinvent the wheel here, instead of trying to do a Daredevil show that's totally different than the beloved Daredevil show that we once had, let's just do the old show. Like, let's just bring that crew back, and it's still going to be different. It's MCU, but essentially what worked in that show will now be working for the new show. And guys, I can't like overstate how big of a deal this is, because Feige has been so protective of the Marvel Studios brand of the MCU, and he really doesn't like Jeff Loeb. Like, you can look at all the history. There's a lot of articles, rumors, Scooper's been talking about it for years. Doesn't like Jeff Loeb, and there was a concerted effort to separate the Netflix show and all the television stuff that came through Jeff Loeb and Marvel Television from Marvel proper, from the MCU. It appears he has changed his mind on that. That's fascinating, okay? So that's like Feige basically being like, you know, I was really hell-bent on doing what I wanted to do in putting my flag in the ground on what the Daredevil show could and should be, and now I have realized that I was wrong, okay? So that's huge. He's realized he's wrong. On top of that, bringing back these actors and just saying like, we're going to listen to the criticism, we're going to give fans what they actually want here, and we're going to make this show tonally match up to the Daredevil show, and you're also going to get the cast that you remember from the Daredevil show in this new show. Massive freaking deal. Massive freaking deal, and I just feel so damn good about it. I feel so damn good about it, okay? You know, as a small side note here, I recently read Ultimate Spider-Man #1, and we've got a big video coming out about that. I love that book. One of the things I love about that book, it just does what Spider-Man fans want. It puts a new twist on an old lemon. It's different, but it just does what you want as a Spider-Man fan. Like, enough of this subverting expectations, enough of doing things that kind of like wink at the fans. Like, dude, I've had my fill of Ralph boners, of what they did with the Mandarin. I have had my fill of all of this shit. Fury getting his eye taken by a freaking flirking alien cat. All this stuff. Like, stop doing stupid shit like that and just play the hits. Like, maybe I'm looking a little too far into this, right? Maybe I've got the copium and I'm just like, give me the fucking copium. But I feel like this could be the start of something. And it's like, as a fan, I want to just express how much it means to me, how much I appreciate it, how much I love it, and how much I want to support Foggy Nelson being in the Daredevil show. It's like Jimmy Olsen and Superman. Like, you need that shit. That shit's important. It's important to the fabric. That friendship is really important. And so I think it's awesome, dude. And I'm just telling you, like, we've really hit a new stage in Marvel where, like, they're willing to do this. They're willing to make this change, go away from their original vision and give fans a little bit more of what they want. And I'm hoping that this is the start of something. I mean, there's so many big things coming down the road, right? We've got X-Men, okay? We've got Fantastic Four. You know, we've got a multiverse saga. We've got, you know, Secret Wars. We've got a potential reboot. We've got an entire mutant-based saga. A lot of fun stuff going on in Marvel. But the question, I think, is how much of this stuff is gonna feel like what fans want? Like, the narrative kind of became with the MCU and with the X-Men specific. I love the X-Men, but I'm not excited for what the MCU is going to do with the X-Men, right? That's a problem. And that's a problem that Marvel created for themselves, where, again, they would just subvert so much. There was so many changes going on for the MCU version of things that fans began to not feel like any of the stuff they originally liked about the characters or the stories were going to carry over. Like, I saw so many people when I was talking about the X-Men plan that were like, oh man, I just don't know. Feige's going to screw it up. You know, it's going to be MCU. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. It'll be all these horrible things. That's no way for a fan base to operate. Like, a fan base cannot feel trepidation every single time you want them to feel hype, right? So I am hoping this is just the start of changes that will be coming within the next year that will help make things a little bit better for the fans, a little bit more fan service. Are we in the era of fan service? I hope so. Now, one other thing that's really important about this, and I don't want to go too deep on this because I'm trying to play nice, okay? I'm trying to play nice. I really am trying to be less combative. I personally feel so happy and so zen in my life, and I'm trying to play nice here, okay? But it needs to be said that not only was Daniel wrong about this, but over the past couple of weeks, it's begun to feel to me like Daniel is so stubborn and so biased that he's literally reporting stuff in a way that will downplay the coming changes and just how badly Marvel actually wants to get fans hyped up and excited. As an example, when it came to the X-Men stuff, Daniel first reported that the X-Men reboot and what they were going to do with the X-Men was not going to have Magneto involved at all. And I felt like that was a troll because he already knew it would have Magneto. Magneto was going to be in charge of the Brotherhood of Mutants, and like, of course they're going to have Magneto as a part of the X-Men. But like, he reported it that way to kind of try to, I mean, like, I don't even know. Like, at some level, I actually think that Daniel and maybe some of the other scoopers, they actually want Marvel to fail, which seems weird and it seems ironic. But like, dude, when I talk to my time behind the scenes, she is constantly talking about firing Kevin Feige, about shitting on Kevin Feige. And I just had this moment where I realized, as much as I do appreciate the information that we get from the scoopers, we have to keep in mind that number one, they have agendas. Number two, they might not even be fans. Like, I don't even think they're fans. I just think they have access to information. Okay. And number three, they're so reluctant to maybe report things the way they're actually happening because they're so stubbornly attached to what they had scooped before and the way they see this going down. And so I literally think that it's possible that Marvel Studios is making all the right changes. They're literally addressing every single thing that fans are concerned about. And that includes just putting some more male energy into the MCU, having some more dope male characters. I actually think that is something Marvel wants to do. I think male energy and putting male energy into things is literally something that Marvel is talking about right now. But I think that even if that was the case, the scoopers might not report that because they don't want fans like me to actually be excited about it. They don't want to project that the studio is actually listening and making changes. And so therefore, we have to take everything these people are saying with a grain of salt. For me personally, like, and this is like part of why I've been kind of like thinking through this process, right? And it's just the case that we can't rely on these people and we have to understand that they may well have an agenda and they may well be reporting stuff with a bias. Okay. So as an example, there's a plot line in Punisher, or rather a plot line in Daredevil Born Again, that I was like really triggered by. And I was like, oh man, I don't want them to do this. And I don't want it to be political. Now, Daniel initially reported that's still in the show. But what I've realized is I'm not even going to talk about that until it actually comes out. And I'm going to choose to believe that either it's being removed or it's going to be handled much better than the way he's saying. Like, does that make sense? Like, are you picking up what I'm setting down here? Like, part of being optimistic about Marvel's future is breaking this association that the scoopers know everything that's happening and that they are painting the proper picture of how things are moving forward. I reject that. And I know for a fact, again, I'm trying to play nice. I'm not trying to go crazy here, but I know for a fact that Daniel reports stuff sometimes literally just to trigger me. And that's no way to actually do your job if you're reporting objective. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention because it was like Jeff Snyder came down from the mountaintop and handed me this beautiful piece of information that flew right in the face of reports from these stinky anonymous scoopers and the bullshit narrative that they have that I really do feel is just kind of perpetuating negativity in the fandom and kind of just trying to ruffle feathers and keep us all upset. So we're going to try to take the information, filter it through what the real possibilities are, and remain optimistic that Marvel's actually making the changes they need to so that we can be excited about this Marvel shit again. And so that's just the last piece of the puzzle. But overall, this is fantastic news. Like, regardless of how you slice it, this is fantastic. Because let's say, worst case scenario, they still bring Foggy and they still bring Karren in and then they get killed, but it's not off screen. Okay? That's still better. It's still better. Don't have them die off screen and act like they don't exist and then present this show that's completely different. Either way, the tone is going to match Daredevil. Either way, you're going to get Foggy Nelson on screen. So it is better. And that's why, like, I really like, if I have to put this whole shit on my back, if I have to be the sole person out there that's trumpeting, that's marching, that's saying, no, I believe they are going to turn it around. I have faith that they're listening. I actually believe that the MCU will be back. Then I'll do it. That's what I decided. Like, I thought about this deeply. I am choosing to believe that they are going to turn this around. They're going to give more toys to the group that's in the room, and they're going to fix these fucking problems. So that's what it is. That's how I'm choosing to view all of this. And it all started by understanding that Karren and Foggy are back. Guys, that's huge. Like, that is huge, okay? And look, here's the other side of it. Maybe they don't. Maybe Marvel continues to fumble. All the other projects fall apart. Maybe the multiverse saga never quite gets there. We watch Secret Wars and we're like, what the fuck is that? If that happens, I'll call it the way I see it. But I'm done letting the fog of the last couple of years, and yes, many Marvel L's, I'm done letting that become the filter by which I view all the information about what's happening next. I'm going to create my own narrative. I'm going to choose to believe, and I'm going to look for signs that enforce my belief, because that just feels like a better way to be a fan. So that's what it is. That's how I feel. And I'm excited, baby.